Every day on the highways of America, automobile accidents claim more and more lives, disabilities, sacrificed to violence. To the victims who survive, the legacy is often serious injury that requires long and complex treatment. An hour ago, this man was Richard Wells, able-bodied worker, USA. A man with a future. Now, that future's changed.
This is ready.
Fresh night.
Fresh night.
Hurry out, elevator.
Elevator.
More towels. How's the breathing?
Little blue.
Seems there. That's sailing. More sponges. More sponges.
That's it. Permanently disabled. Richard Wells is one in a million, more than a million civilians, disabled so badly that they need special help before they can work and earn a living. Daily, their number grows. The reason? Accidents of all kinds. Illness, of eyesight, paralysis. Mental or emotional sickness. No matter what the cause, the problem is the same. To bring the disabled to the fullest possible usefulness. In the state and local vocational rehabilitation offices, thousands of men and women are beginning the road to recovery. Applicants go to the nearest office in person if they are able. If not, the office goes to them. After a complete physical examination, which is provided in every case, the applicant is interviewed by experienced counselors. And here the terms change. The applicant becomes a client with a new friend whose entire resources will be at her disposal. Here, in a private conference, a plan for rehabilitation is worked out. In the cases of clients like Sally Myers, who are emotionally upset, the counselor will try to recognize and appreciate her mental illness. When needed, psychiatric treatment is provided. Each situation requires a different solution. The counselor discovered that when Frank lost his right arm, he became almost helpless. A left arm that he didn't know how to use. A lost job. This means a special program. Occupational therapy, job training, a new arm. The next time Frank comes in, he'll be ready for the first step of his program. Aptitude tests enable the counselor to unearth hidden talents that may indicate the most desirable job training. What about Frank? He's good at figures. You don't force a square peg into a round hole. These tests help to make sure of that. This first and employment test may provide a sound basis for Sally's job training program. But of the 250,000 handicapped on the rolls of the state vocational rehabilitation agencies this year, thousands are so disabled that they're unable to visit the local office. So to their homes and to the hospitals go counselors to develop a definite rehabilitation plan. Orthopedic involvements constitute 50% of all the cases that achieve rehabilitation through the state agencies. To Dick Wells, this visit means a new lease on life. The impetus that will start him on a long uphill fight with a definite goal to fight for. Physical therapy is one of the fundamental steps in the program. Exercise strengthens muscles, prepares paralytics to support themselves on crutches or braces. In preparing a patient for artificial limbs, many doctors prescribe hydrotherapy, massage, exercise. Before Dick Wells can be outfitted with new legs, doctors must be certain that his remaining muscles are strong enough to use them. To paralytics, the long, arduous trail back begins on a simple practice device. This restores a lot more than mobility. It restores the outlook. Despair moves over to make room for hope and confidence. Getting ready for that return engagement. Every possible device must be made available to help mend Richard's body and strengthen his will to fight. Oftentimes, ultraviolet ray is used to provide energy-giving vitamins that will step up the recovery process. Many and varied are the kinds of prosthetic limbs that may be obtained for amputees. Manufacturers sell more than 30,000 artificial limbs to new customers each year. To make certain that in each case the most appropriate type of prosthesis is prescribed, state rehabilitation divisions obtain the services of leading specialists who approve the restoration. A cosmetic hand is one that resembles the real thing, and that's what Frank needs. His job doesn't require a working appliance. But Dick Wells must walk. Someday he wants to move again, to get out and go. And his job ambitions, his hopes for the future, demand that he have appliances that will match those ambitions and hopes. In cases where functional employment of the hand is part of the overall program, the client must have an appliance that provides a maximum of utility, something he can use on the job. But whatever the appliance, fitting is only the beginning. The person must now be trained to use it. Dick Wells finds that it takes long, discouraging weeks of practice before he can walk by himself. Most amputees can learn to walk with a natural gait. But Dick's high double amputation makes any walking an achievement of courage. To the nurses and attendants whose lot it is to mingle with the brave, this period is one of patience, providing encouragement, and a time when the client must dedicate all his strength of will to mastering this strangeness that has become a part of his new life. Occupational therapy begins with fundamentals. What might be elementary to some people is important to Frank because he's learning to write all over again. It's fun when you're in the second grade. When you're a man, it's tough and you sweat it out. In thousands of schools, workshops, institutions, and factories, handicapped people are learning new skills like drawing and designing that will enable them to compete on the same level with unimpaired workers on the same job. Among the many workshops that cooperate with the rehabilitation program, it was easy to find one where Dick Wells could learn how to run a milling machine, prepare himself for that factory job. Many handicapped people discover that they can type and do secretarial work just as fast as the unimpaired. In cases like Frank's, clients are often provided academic training without cost to themselves, but everything must point toward attainment of the right job objective. For the hard of hearing, aids are provided as part of the restoration program. Extensive research and scientific studies are used as the basis for selecting the right job training. Paralytics and some spastics learn profitable occupations like lens grinding. New hopes rise as the disabled see their disabilities fade and their abilities grow. In cases of emotional maladjustment like Sally Myers, skilled and sympathetic treatment by qualified psychiatrists can do much to inspire new self-confidence, hasten the recovery process. The homebound paralytic can also work. There are hundreds of jobs that can be done at home. It's the state officer's job to visit the home, find the job, give the necessary training, then to follow through with encouragement, advice, and assistance. No rehabilitation process is more complex than that which deals with the blind. To Bill Holmes, who lost his sight at middle age, it means beginning all over again. Learning reference points and spacing. Learning to recognize objects, to orient himself, to travel. Rehabilitation for the blind is a tedious process that requires expert supervision. Instructors often accompany the client for an extended period of time, indoors and out, so that the rehabilitation may be continuous and progressive. In publicly and privately sponsored workshops in the United States, thousands of blind trainees are at work, producing everything from toys to electric switchboards. An ever-growing social consciousness of the problem of blind workers has impelled states and communities to step up this program, to analyze more and more commercial job opportunities for the blind. And in the sanatoria of America, tuberculous patients prepare for the time when they will be discharged and claim their new freedom. To these people, vocational rehabilitation must bring job training geared to the physical condition of the client. Physical disability is no index of real ability. The ranks of the famed are filled with those who overcame severe physical handicaps to attain success. Can it be done? Check with Tommy Muriello, who carried his disability into the ring against the greatest fighters of his time. Or inquire of Bill Stern, an amputee, whose disability faded in a voice that's known in every home in the land.
Home run of the year. Higbee was the winning pitcher, Baroe the loser.
Ask Jane Froman, who emerged from a battered airplane in Lisbon Bay to give the world a lesson in courage.
Burgundy blue, and I find the very mention of you like the kicker in a julep or two.
Or ask Al Capp, an amputee, creator of Lil Abner and a score of other characters familiar to any American. All these and thousands of other handicapped people have reached the top of their profession. In the American community, the dream of greatness is the right of all. For the disabled, this greatness is realized in a job. Independence, becoming a definite part of the community's production dynamic. In the highly skilled jobs that go into its precision manufacturing, the Western Electric Company long ago discovered that a wealth of productive manpower is abundantly available in handicapped people. In its huge Hawthorne plant at Chicago, the blind, on detailed, intricate jobs such as assembling terminal strips, have established outstanding records for speed and efficiency. Helpless? They're not helpless. They're creating. They're building. They're working. At Hawthorne, all jobs are graded according to their required skill and responsibility. Fred Scott has moved up through 3 grades, with corresponding pay raises in the past 2 years. Bill Jones has been with Western Electric for 19 years, 4 of them with that artificial hand. If you check over in the inspection department, you'll find that Chet's record is one of the best in the business. And Chet has only one good arm. Whether it's spot welding or arc welding, Sam does a mighty good job. All of these people work with a genuine conviction that they are part of the family, contributing to the operation of a great industry. And they are. The Bolivar Watch Company, long famed for its consideration of the human factor in industry, has conducted extensive experiments with handicapped workers. And today, next to its plant on Long Island, Bolivar operates a special training school with one single objective: to train physically disabled people to assume jobs in a specific industry. Bolivar officials declare that the highly specialized, intricate work of watch craftsmanship, handicapped workers have established a record of job performance that has challenged. One of Bolivar's ace foremen is an amputee. He attained his big promotion after he acquired his handicap. Further evidence that what is left is what counts. Along the assembly lines of America's factories are countless numbers of handicapped men and women, working side by side with unimpaired workers, turning out the same kind of production. Time was when a deaf mute was considered a burden for society to shoulder. Now the deaf mute shoulders his own burden. At Bolivar, many people born with this affliction are making their way on regular jobs, earning regular pay. Before Ruth was stricken with infantile paralysis, she ran a switchboard. Still does. The only difference people notice is in her voice. There's a little more triumph in it these days. Known the country over for its community-minded employment policies, the Caterpillar Tractor Company in Peoria, Illinois, has discovered that production schedules are met just as fast or faster by their physically disabled employees. This man can operate a gas pump. That's proved. It's in the records. And in the right job, all handicapped employees will give full value for wages received, with no special conditions created for their employment. People who can neither hear nor talk overcome this impairment and put their remaining capacities to work on important jobs. Jobs like this one at Caterpillar, blueprints and a design for doing. The blind can see through their hands. A great law of compensation sometimes speeds the recovery process. When a man loses one faculty, he often improves immeasurably his remaining faculties. This is true of the paralytic. If he is trained for a job where he can exploit his talents, he can be just as successful as any other worker. And it's certainly true of the amputee, who makes one arm do the work of 2. The commercial greatness of America can be measured by the wealth of productive manpower that has made this majesty possible. And of all the great industrial forces in our country, none is so extensive as the automobile industry. At the Ford Motor Company in Detroit, Michigan, a good part of the manpower is vested in disabled people. Ford has found that absenteeism is not as great among handicapped workers. They spend more time on the job. Here at the Ford River Rouge plant, the blind person performs jobs vital to meeting automotive schedules. And with a proper appliance, the amputee is ready to go. At the Ford plant, men with no hands at all are able to work to collect an honest, well-earned paycheck every week. These testimonials by Bolivar, by Ford, by Caterpillar and Western Electric are supported by other great names in American industry. Why? Because people like Dick Wells discover talents and abilities that can be developed into a productive job for their employers and independence for themselves. Because handicapped workers like Sally Myers can increase their earnings an average of from $300 to $1,600 a year. Because the tuberculous find that in this land of a second chance, there are rehabilitation services that prepare them for jobs. Because Bill Holmes, an executive at his Braille typewriter, turns a talent once lodged in him useless into profit for his employer and himself. And a little girl bound to a home by paralysis finds that a telephone, a typewriter, some good guidance and training means that she too can share in the program. Working in close cooperation with public employment officers, rehabilitation agencies prepared and placed on jobs 43,000 people like Frank in 1 year. Besides Frank, there are more than 1.5 million men and women of working age who are prevented from securing jobs because of their disability. These people are always urged to go not to the employers, but to the nearest rehabilitation office. The average case cost of complete rehabilitation is $300. This is a non-recurring cost to the taxpayer. It changes the handicapped person like Dick Wells from a dependent into a producer. Instead of requiring money for his support, he's contributing to the nation's wealth on a productive job. These people, the state and federal governments, have dedicated the services of a comprehensive organization. The objective of the state-federal system of vocational rehabilitation is to assure Dick Wells and every handicapped person the right to another chance. To start him off, to see him through, and to make sure that regardless of the degree of his disablement, he will be provided every facility his country, his state, his community, and American industry can give him to help him make his comeback.